Jody Williams.
Mr. Espey, how you doing? Everybody in the chat, they're off to a big shebang right here. And good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Can-Am Connection with Ryan Espey and your boy. Welcome to the show. Please, before we get things started, do not forget to like and subscribe and show everybody what's going on, because nothing's going on Tuesday morning but us. So
yeah, share it right now.
Yes.
Everyone jumps in here because it's going to be a whopper, man. We got a lot to talk about. And as promised, we said we would do the soapbox edition and they weren't going to want to miss it. Well, let's talk about that. And it should be no surprise.
Ryan, let us know.
It should be no surprise that I'm going to be focused on talking about how the World Arm Wrestling Federation is attempting to influence other organizations.
Is that the word you want to use? You don't want to use the word like hijack?
Ooh.
Well, I should probably even not use that word either. So
here's what I'm leaning towards here. We've got this all kind of kicked off. So let's just do the timeline. Months ago, when WAF started talking about banning athletes for participating in events where there were staff that were banned. This kicked off at the Canadian Arm Wrestling Federation Nationals. And there was a threat that was made, and let's call it what it is. It was a threat that if anyone that participated in that national championship would be held not in good standing by WAF. And that's just fancy speak for banned. Let's call it what it is.
Right.
They would be banned by WAF. As far as I know, that hasn't happened because there was a wrinkle. Because of this threat that happened, well, once you say that, you either do it for everybody or you do it for nobody. So the people that showed up and were staff at this event where there was a banned official, that person had to go through with banning someone else who was on their side and trying to grow the WAF side of things. So it became a difficult decision. And as far as I know, nothing has happened about that. Now, moving forward, I asked the question, how long until WAF decides that they're going to tell WAF / East versus West athletes that they cannot compete by virtue of someone being banned that's in attendance? You follow me so far, Jody?
This is why living in North America, which is the United States and Canada, that's why we're so good. You don't fucking tell us what to do.
Well, or so we thought. Now we got all these contracts coming out. Well, they're East versus West and King of the Table contracts. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, that's just East versus West and King of the Table. It is commonly known that East versus West has an affiliation with WAF. Yes, and Jake Clean and Mexico and Latin America. We understand. So we have... so moving forward, here we are. We have
Scott,
now
if you're banned, that means I still watch your video, so it's all good.
We now have people that pulled out of events because of the official. The word is the official that was being utilized for the event. So Gabriella is out. She's got her own reasons. I'm not going to try to speak to what was said to her or what the message she received, but she is out of the event, the high five. I was asked by someone outside of the high five if I was still competing at the high five. And the rationale for them asking me was because I was going to compete at an event that had an IFA referee that I might be banned. And that could have a consequence that went further down the road. Speaking directly about Billy's North versus South event, there was a thought that maybe I would not be allowed to compete there because I would then be not in good standing with WAF. So the soapbox today is WAF slithering their way into professional events in North America and trying to influence where the arm wrestlers pull. And no, I have not forgotten about Ryan Bowen's organization either, because he is being directly impacted by this as well. So what are we going to do about it? Well, we can all band together and decide where to pull. I understand that the elite of the sport that are signing contracts are going to have a much different take on this, and it will impact them financially. And I understand. I do not fault them for making the decisions they make. But there will be a lot of opportunities for those tier of arm wrestlers that might be just below that to compete. AWE, the high five. It depends how far this actually goes. It depends. And Jay Clean, WAF is shooting himself in the foot. They are making themselves the villain, and they are giving a reason for the other organization to continue to exist.
Now you
And
watch.
anytime you do this, it will make someone else thrive.
And here's the thing. I got a lot of friends on the WAF bandwagon. I'm telling you right now, it's only a matter of time before they say, you know what, screw this. I'm going to say this. I've never pulled a WAF event, so they all can kiss my ass because I'm a grown-ass man. You don't tell me where I can and can't compete. You don't own the rights to Chocolate Thunder. My wife might, but you don't own the rights to Chocolate Thunder, okay? Let's get that straight.
Let me ask you a
Tell
question.
me what to do and when to do it, because I didn't sign a contract with nobody. I didn't sign a contract with North for South. I didn't sign a contract with Arm Sports Entertainment. None of that stuff. I pull where I want to pull because the organization or the promoters invited me to pull. It's an open, conversation. Hey, Jody, we'd love to have you at our event. Can you make it? It's either yes or no. There ain't no, well, let me go talk to my agent. Let me get my lawyers involved. Ain't none of that dumb shit going on. This is arm wrestling. Stop making arm wrestling bigger than what it needs to be. This is why we have so much problem with our sport. And once again, here's my little mini soapbox. It angers me when I see shit like, what's that? The slap boxing, whatever. You got to put your hands behind that. I'll be damned if I'm going to let some grown man slap me where I got to sign a waiver going, hey, you can't retaliate. The only thing you can do is slap a guy back within the rules. When that is getting so much attention and views, and that's on TV, I got a problem with that. When cornhole, fun game to play, but when that's being nationally televised on ESPN, the cornhole championships, that pisses me off, right? And here we are for how many decades now? I'm going to say decades. How many decades now have we all been talking about arm wrestling should be in the Olympics? Fuck, it is in the Olympics. It's just called the World Championships. That is it. Why? Because no one's getting paid. Well, I won't say nobody's getting paid, but you see what I'm saying, though, right? Like, more oftentimes than not, a lot of us are going to the World Championships, right? Now, Ryan, you've been to Worlds lots and lots of times. How many times did you pay out of pocket?
All of them. All of them.
Exactly. I went to Worlds 2021, IFA, say what you want, whatever. Post-COVID, I understand that. It just happened that the planets aligned like this to where I was able, that particular year, IFA Worlds was in the U.S. Cool. I jumped on there, got it, had a good weekend. Participated in day one, day two, masters left and right, walked out with a second. Cool. Spent the entire time with my family on vacation. That was a win-win, right? But think about it, okay? Airfare, we stayed in an Airbnb, and we went to Disney World. So that was a chunk of change out of my own pocket also. So, when I see these organizations, WAF, and they try to sit there and dictate what you can and can't do to certain people, I'm like, sign a lifelong contract with WAF. Now, I don't want to tell people what to do, but if I'm Ryan Espey, I'm like, well, let's see here. 3-time world champion, yes. Ryan, yes. 3-time world champion.
Yeah, 3 times.
3-time world champion. I done did what I need to do at WAF. I'm good now. And that was back when WAF was good, when you had good opponents coming. Now, it may be kind of watered down now. I don't know, but you still got some of the young guns over on the other side of the ocean, right? You've done what you need. You can do what the hell you want to do. We'll take Ryan. I don't want to sit there and, and here's my Lord.
Let me ask you a question, Jody.
Yes, sir.
What happens if Ingen comes to you and says, I'll give you $10,000 and pay your trip? 3 times a year, you'll have a super match. But you can't compete anywhere else, and you must influence other people from competing anywhere else. What's going to be your answer?
I think we talk about that before? I know you brought that up before. If Ingen came to me and said, you said 10 grand?
10 grand.
It's up to when people sign this contract, it's up to the puller. What's in the contract? That's what it comes down to, right? If Ingen came to me and says, hey, if I'm guaranteed 3 matches, that's the key. Just for that year, let's just say 2024, right? Let's just go ahead and play devil's advocate. 2024, and Chocolate Thunder, we love to have you there. 2024, you're guaranteed 3 matches. 10 grand, cool. Want to know why? Because I can just strictly focus on that.
That's the issue. So that's the power, because let's face it, for a lot of people, $10,000 3 times a year is more than a lot of people's salary annually. So
Right.
you can make a case that from those 10 grand pots, you can basically replace a significant amount of work for yourself. It's kind of like you're getting towards that level where arm wrestling can be your living. Now, that's the power that they have over top of these pullers, and that's why they maintain these contracts. So I will say that Dave Chafee, Chance Shaw, I'll even say Marcio, those 3 guys have an incredible amount of guts, because I think, now this is me theorizing, I'm not going to put words in anyone's mouths, but
Right.
at least 2 of them, I bet you, have been contacted and discouraged from pulling this event. Now, I'm speculating. I do not have inside information on this.
Right. But the thing is, though, like with your scenario, if I'm guaranteed 3 matches, that's all. Because let's be real, to be on that level, you're going to need training and time and rest, and that's it. Let's just say, hey, we go March, your first match of 2024. We go maybe June or July, your second match, and we may go October, November, your last match. As long as I'm guaranteed those 3 matches, I'm fine. But I don't want to get to a situation where some guys who sign with Wall, I get to do this, and let's just say you lost a match, someone never heard from again. Or, some had one, match contracts, whatever, never heard from again. I don't want to be in that situation. That's a pickle I don't want to be in, But it all depends on the puller. If it makes sense to the puller, fine. But I don't want to sit there and sign a contract and go, oh, we'll have you on the next one. We'll go ahead and keep working. Don't string me along. Tell me up front what I'm up against. 10 grand for how many matches? 3 matches? Okay, cool. You got me. As long as they're guaranteed. Don't say, hey, have me sitting on the sidelines, twiddling my thumbs, waiting and shit, and I could be competing because ain't nobody getting any younger. I know I'm not. So I don't want to hear that shit.
I just got a message from Will, from one of the guys at the High Five, commenting that he he just commented that he thought he was the only one that does a fast before a contest.
Does he want to come on?
I could send him a message.
Yeah,
keep the crowd entertained.
Yeah. So fasting, I think Jay Clean asked you what I think about fasting. I'm not an expert at that. I was never a high school wrestler. So athletes like those guys know what they're doing. I really don't. I've done dumb shit before. I've seen my teammates, trying to cut weight for a tournament where, hey, I'm gonna have 6 teaspoons of Epsom salt, and just like, oh, that sounds like a bad day, right? I've actually 1 year at Nationals, I sat there and drank a bunch of distilled water, so that way when I use the bathroom, a lot more comes out than normal, right? I've done that, so to make weight, but I never actually. I'm not like Todd Zilla, who can weigh 225 one day and then 2 days later 195. I don't want to put my body through that. I really don't. So, but
I'll tell you what, I'll give you Jay Clean's opinion verbatim. Okay. I don't believe in fasting. Many do, but I maintain that instead of fasting for 36 hours, you should eat for 36 hours straight. As we all know, food is fuel and fuel is power.
Hey, if I want to sit there and eat pork chops all goddamn day prior to a match, I'm a damn well do it. But here's the thing. It's for fasting, right? If you're trying to make weight, here's my advice. If you know you're going to a tournament and you got to be a certain amount of weight class, why don't you take 2 months, depending on where you are, and do it then instead of wait the last minute. I never understood that, because when people, hang out in the saunas and the steam room to try to get all that last bit of weight off, why don't you just go ahead and do that a month and a half, 2 months prior? That way you kind of, that way you're not starving your body. You're not miserable, And then when people do that and they make weight, then they go gorge themselves in a bunch of food, which all is going to your gut anyway, right?
Yep.
I just don't think, and I'm at an age now, I don't need to be fat. I'm too old to be fasting. I don't need to be doing that. I really don't. I just watch what I eat, when I eat, how much I eat, and go from there.
All right,
that's
man.
my pick.
We might have a guest.
Oh, yeah.
So are we concluded as far as our soapbox edition goes? Because I think the worst, maybe the best, but the worst is yet to come.
Wow, this weekend, right?
The event's this weekend, but I think as far as this whole push and pull between contracts, WAF, and professional organizations, I think you're going to see some stuff happen over the next few weeks that we're going to continue to be talking about.
Here's another problem, because there's a bunch of them, right? One of the problems I got is the fact that you got new organizations coming. Do I think it's good or bad for the sport? I always thought it was good, because you're not like when Wall was at his highest peak, it was Wall and pretty much that was the premiere. Yeah, people still went to WAF Worlds and Nationals, which is good. Don't get me wrong. But what they were doing, everybody wanted to do. And it was like, okay, when the tournaments were going on, it was great. When WAL decided that we're going to shift gears and go to the Supermatch format, it kind of did this. The pool went from here to there. Now you have a certain amount of people. And now everybody wants to know, well, when can I get on, WAL? But now with these other organizations coming out, and I've said so many, you could name them. AMC, AWE, King of the Table, East vs. West, Arm Wars, Arm Gods, Monster Factory. And now with this one coming up this weekend, what it does is opens the door for a lot more athletes, because we have this influx of pullers now in our sport. And I think now it does give opportunities for everybody to showcase themselves. Yourself, myself, whoever, it gives them opportunity to showcase themselves. That's what we want, because we love the sport. But when WAF sees that and goes, wait a minute, all these organizations just rising out of the ground and stuff. Hey, he pulls for us. Hey, she pulls for us. Nah, we're going to go ahead and put a lid on that. For what? Now all you're doing is hurting the athlete. An athlete that you don't promote. I don't recall WAF promoting their athletes.
Well, they don't need to, because there's a constant influx and you never know who's going to show up and,
exactly,
come up the ranks and wind up on top. And that's the way amateur sport should be. I do have some rumblings that I'll give you a teaser. There's another guy that wants to put on a massive tournament, and he's got some good financial backing. And I suggested that might be what's missing, because the other little soapbox moment is I look at some of these events that have been going on for the past 20 years all around the United States. The prize money hasn't really changed since I started arm wrestling. It's kind of stayed static the whole time. But this guy is talking about an event where it would rival the prize money eventually of the old World Arm Wrestling League tournaments.
Wow. So
there's your teaser for the day.
And we in the past, whether it be Robert Drink, Steve Kaplan, somebody with some deep pockets, just one of those deals, So, man, that was a good soapbox / shampoo edition. I like that.
Yeah, that was good. And we're going to continue to stay on that subject. Let's move on. Where do you want to start? Because we got the High Five, which is the event we should focus on a little bit. But of course,
let's do it.
We also have East versus West 9. And we also have, as pointed out in the chat, WAF is actually starting pretty right away.
You said in a couple days, right?
A couple days, yeah. So let's go with the High Five.
Do we have enough time to get all that in?
let's. We don't have to talk about WAF too much. because there's not a lot to talk about there. It's a big tournament. We don't know who's going to be there. So there's no way we can possibly predict the outcomes of that.
No.
But we got lots of matches to talk about for the high five.
Yes. Billy Berg says he wishes he had deep pockets. All right.
Billy, you better find some deep. You better reach in there and hope you don't just feel your leg.
Yes. Yes.
Because you got some bills to pay, my friend, and they're coming up fast.
Yes. Don't disappoint me, man. My ticket's paid for. Don't disappoint.
Where to begin?
High five.
Let's talk about Will Blazeski and Leroy Walker before Will gets in here, if he jumps in.
I have no idea what to say about those guys.
And neither do I, because Will is, a relative newcomer, a couple years. Leroy's been around, but I have no gauge on where his power is. I'm just looking forward to seeing it.
But that's good, though.
Big guys. Yeah.
That's good because, once again, like I just said, having an organization like this, it also gets other people some spotlight, give them some shine,
Yep. Now I'm looking at an old match list here. In fact, no, that's not true. I have the new match list. I just have it on a different device. But let's talk about Sviton Gashevsky versus Craig Tullier. That's on the free card. Oh, by the way, the links for the pay-per-view and the free ones are in the video description already. So make sure you check that out.
Good old Tullier. If Tullier keeps his elbow down, I think it's legit. I will say this, though. When back at the Monster Factory back in the spring, April, I believe, and I was there and I watched Tullier take on Eduardo Tiete. Yeah, I'm thinking, okay, this is your basic classic hooker versus top roller. And Craig just kind of walked right through him 3-0. And then who did Craig pull in East versus West recently? I can't remember, but he went down 3-0. So I'm thinking, okay, normally with Craig, once that happens, it's back to the lab, working out, making sure he fixes his flaws. So I think he might come out with a game plan. He's always going to be quick and aggressive and fast. Doesn't hurt when you have that in your, arsenal. You know what I mean? So from that standpoint.
Well, Gashevsky's coming in here. I like it because they're guys that are from around the same era as well.
Mm-hmm.
Similar experience. You're not putting these young killers up against the veterans.
Right. Which seems to be the theme these days. But, yeah. Oh, that time will win. The rounds will be long, but at the end of the day, he will never be in real danger. So do you think it'll just be a control thing? Do you think Craig might foul out? That kind of thing? So that's interesting. That's a good point.
Now I think I'm even more curious to see it. I will be sitting right there watching. All right, I'm going to take Craig. I'll take Craig just to go against the grain and pick the guy from North America.
Yes. Same here.
Paul Cruz versus BJ Fokakis. Surprising match, and it was a replacement for Vitor. So I like it a lot. I like that BJ's on the card.
I'm not familiar with Paul Cruz.
Neither am I. But if he was going up against Vitor, you got to think that, he had something. And we know BJ is good.
Yeah.
So it's another one of those unknown, but of course, BJ is the guy that I will take.
Where is this at? New Jersey?
Yeah, it's in New Jersey.
Hey. Yes. We have a guest, everybody. We have a guest. Will the Thrill is on the show.
What's happening, guys? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Sorry, it took me an extra minute there. I always have these little technical issues. You know how it is.
We are in the middle of talking about the high five.
Fantastic. I hope it's good things. I would really hope it's good things.
Of course it is. We're talking about, don't worry, the soapbox segment's done, so you don't have to listen to us complain about other organizations trying to interfere with other organizations. We're just talking about the matches now, and we just finished off talking about the undercard. Now we're getting into the main card. Now, Will, you got the match order handy?
I do. So first up for the main card will be Jason Merlo versus Nicholas Nonestad.
Tell me that's left-handed.
It's right-handed, actually.
Ooh, okay. If it was left-handed, I would have said Jason Merlo, no question. But if it's right-handed,
It's going to be very interesting. Anyone who knows Jason, right? He's kind of this unspoken about amazing arm wrestler, especially in the New Jersey area. But he's done some great things, and he's kind of flown under the radar for a while. It's kind of his personality. He's not big on social media. He's not big about posting much. But the guy,
unless he's fishing.
Yeah, exactly. Unless he's fishing, exactly. He's unbelievable, super strong hand. And what's interesting is I was just listening to Marcio's podcast about his predictions, and they're both top rollers, but Jay's inside, his hook is mean. His hand control is just absolutely massive. So I think what's going to happen is they're both going to try to go outside. They're going to slip, and they're going to end up in a hook every single time.
And Merlot has this hand where he looks like a guy that probably just, works at a bank, and
either that or like a smoke shop. The guy's got hair down to here and a nice little goatee.
Yeah, he grew his hair out. So, but the amount of hand strength that guy has is phenomenal. And like I'm saying, so when I heard it, I'm like, oh, they're pulling left hand. Oh, Jason, no question asked. And I was like, oh, right. And you said right-handed, so I'm thinking, okay, because first of all, Nicholas is like 6'5", something like that.
I think he's 6'6".
See, long arm, and he has a low hand top roll. And I wish Matt Mass could figure that out, but nonetheless, long arm, dumps his wrist. Can Jason compete with that? Because I don't know if Jason's ever pulled anybody with that long an arm before. So I'm kind of curious to see, especially right hand, how that plays out.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a different type of challenge for Jason. But also Nonestad, same thing. I think the last big thing he did, I believe he did the Dark Card or Iron House for Arm Wars. I believe that was the last time he did something like this. I might be wrong with that. Right. But he's another one. He's kind of been just, laying low, and I'm sure he's still an absolute beast. But when we had the opportunity to bring him back and bring him over on, a large-scale production, it was a no-brainer.
And Will, I want to say before you got on the air, I was explaining there to Ryan, everybody in the chat, when you have different organizations rising, and it gives everyone opportunity to kind of showcase themselves. So I want to say thank you for putting this event on.
No, thank you guys. Without the support from the community, this honestly never would have happened. It's very simple. And I won't get mushy like I did on Uncle John's podcast, but we put a lot of time, a lot of effort over the past 4.5, 5 months putting this together. And we were just a local team in New Jersey who we'd held the Arnold Classic qualifier. We held some seminars, and when they brought me into the fold in terms of from the business side of things, they just said, why don't we put our hats in the ring to do a pay-per-view? And I looked at them, I said, if we're going to do this, we're not going to just do, and no offense to any of the smaller productions, they're all amazing, but I'm not that type of guy. Like I am all in 100%, balls to the wall. We're going to make this insane. And we just hit the ground running. I mean, yeah, like it's kind of scary for me because, I keep saying like, guys, wait till you see it. Wait till you see it. Technically, I haven't seen it either, but I've seen the background and the level of production that our company has put together that we're using, and having been in all the production meetings and everything like that, it's going to be something super, super special. Our goal is to be able to have the production level plus of King of the Table with the style of East vs. West and kind of some Zloty tour inspiration and top 8. Like we're just taking all of it together and just throwing it in people's faces. So, but yes, back to what you said. Thank you. I mean, thank you guys. Cause if it wasn't for you guys just spreading the word, this never would have happened. So we're going to keep pushing, and let's just say there will be a major announcement at the end of the day that day. So,
oh, I can't wait for that.
It'll
Which
be good.
means there might be a second edition, but is there going to be a press conference? That's what I want to know.
Yes, there'll be a press conference. So Friday at 5 p.m. we will have a press conference / rules meeting. We're going to try to put it all together into 1 hour. So you'll be able to hear from all the athletes. Thankfully, not that I'm not a fan of the drama, but I don't think there's much real drama. I think there's athletes who want to prove themselves and just show them the world what they have. So I don't think we'll have any, chairs thrown or anything like that. Unless Leroy tries to say something about my grandma or something, then we'll have a problem. But
you're going to throw a chair at him. Okay.
So what we do have a question in the chat from Jay Clean. He wants to know where can they see the pay-per-view and all the matches best of 5.
The link is in my description of this video, so go click it.
Perfect.
And yes, all the matches are best of 5. Unlike, I believe they do this at King of the Table. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the athletes are not required to pull all 5 rounds. We felt very strongly about that because anyone who's ever been in a super match, if you sweep the guy 3-0, those next 2 rounds, you're not going to give what you did in the first 3.
No.
And we don't want anybody to get injured or anything like that. Of course, we would love to have back and forth all the way to the 5th round. That would be great. But no one is required. But yes, it is best of 5.
Got it.
Yeah, I never understood the whole point of making somebody pull after the match is already won or lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next match.
Yes.
It's a big one.
Yes, massive one. It's the worst athlete I could ever think of on this just a horrible left-handed puller.
Terrible. You must be talking about Pavlo.
Well, I can't pick sides here. But yes, we have none other than the man himself in front of us, Ryan Espey versus Paul Derbedeniev. Super excited about this. Well, let's just start off by saying I was very disappointed that Wagner wasn't able to come on because obviously, supposedly he was injured. But I'm just a big fan of his craziness. So it was a little bit of a bummer, but Pablo, when we asked him, he stepped up right to the plate. And I think this is one of those matches, and this isn't just because you're sitting in front of me, that people don't know how good it's going to get. I think it's they're thinking either Ryan's going to destroy him or Pablo's going to destroy him. I think this match is going to be money. I don't think you have obviously much more table experience than he has, but I don't think people know how strong he is and how technically skilled and how strong your hand is. I think it's going to be good. And Ryan, did you tell the people how much heavier you are from your match with Devin?
Well, let's put it this way. So I was getting way down. So we'll call that my match with Devin because I was definitely not expecting a match.
Sure.
But I was dieting and getting lean and in shape and whatever. And then I decided I took an ass whooping, so I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen because we kind of knew this was coming too. And I just fasted for over 36 hours.
Here we go again with that fasting.
And this morning when I woke up, having done that, I was over 365. So by the time I'm replenished and everything's full again, I'll be, right around that 80-ish mark.
Woo! Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, Jay Clean. Damn. In the words of Ron Simmons.
Oh, that's not even the proper arm. That's the one.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you what. Props for Pablo for taking this last minute. Because originally it was supposed to be Wagner and he couldn't make it. So now Pablo stepped in. Props to him for doing that. And it changes the dynamic. So Will, I'm gonna ask you a question. Because Pablo's on the card twice. Which match is he pulling first? Because that may tell the tale of this whole thing. He's pulling you first, Ryan?
Yep.
Okay. 100%. He's pulling Ryan first, and then he has. Sorry, I'm getting out of where I was. He has 2 matches in between to rest up for Marcio. So No excuses can be had from Pablo. He was up to it. Once you say yes, that's it. You said yes. Oh,
Yeah.
it's good. So next.
Oh, we're losing him.
Hey, at least the sun's out over there.
That's a good place to get frozen on. A nice beam of sunlight coming through.
Wish I could say the same. We're dealing with wildfire, so all the smoke is just horrible. So,
sorry about that.
All right, Will.
sorry. I was saying, my bad. I lost you for a moment.
Lost him again. Jody, we got to keep going, buddy.
oh, let's keep. Will, you still there? What's up, buddy?
Sorry, my bad. It's connection. Sorry, I told you. Technical difficulties. Anyway, we should be good now. Yeah, Saban Badalescu and Chance Shaw is up next.
Ooh.
I'm so intrigued by this match. Like, I mean, if Chance wins, and I think he can, I don't think most people realize how big of a win that actually is.
That would be a massive, massive win. I mean,
would that be one of those connection wins? What I mean by that, because when Sabin beat Pavlo, right? And then if Chance beats Sabin, that'll put him right up there again. I mean, back into the higher upper echelon, in my opinion.
Well, he's really hanging. Like Sabin is hanging on to the, I'm the last guy to beat Levon type of thing. Like he's been talking about that a lot in the past few years, trying to get a big match, and he got one at King of the Table. Unfortunately for him, I think the days of him pulling King of the Table or East versus West might be at an end for reasons outside of our control.
Right.
But he, I don't think he's going to do what he needs to do to be reinstated to those organizations, which is great. Because as I said, as doors close, other ones open and opportunities for other guys come up.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it's going to be a good match. After speaking with Chance a little bit privately, he feels, quite confident. He feels strong. He feels ready. I do think it's an interesting matchup. If you just think about, obviously Saban is very connected to Set Von Gashevsky, his master, as he says. They've done a really great job of learning and mastering that outside, pseudo King's move, technique, just stopping that pin from happening. So I think off the rip, Chance is going to get the jump. I just don't know if the finishing is going to be there. So I think it's going to be not similar to Craig and Master, but because the styles are a little bit different, but I think how each round ends is going to be similar.
I'll tell you something. What I'm looking forward to, Will, is grabbing a hold of Chance Shaw after the in the after pulls. I've never touched his hand ever.
You and me both. Are you kidding me? I am so pumped to grip up with all of you guys. I'm on my way up, obviously. And I feel like a large part of leveling up is understanding where those levels are so that you can then push towards them and break through them. So, but yeah, he's another one. Like, hopefully he's not watching. That's a goal of mine in about a year is to call out Chance. So
I've never seen Chance in the chat, so I really don't know. Criggy's in the house. What's up, Criggy? With Chance Shaw, when you grip up with him, it's like he stuck his hand in a hornet's nest and left it in there for like 5 minutes. That's how thick his hand is, So
I find that actually really interesting. So, with my coaches, we talk about that all the time. Is there's a level of diminishing return with the thickness of your hand, right? Because just because your hand is thick, and especially in our super heavyweight class, right? Great, your hand is really thick. That guy still is gripping around the whole thing. So all you're essentially doing is losing a lot of your dexterity, right? I'd much rather have the same size hand as I have now with insane amount of strength than rather it being super, super fat. Like I'm not a fan of the rice technique, because it just thickens everything. I'd rather you focus on a lot of static strength, just finger holds and all that type of stuff. And I think that's what's allowed me to excel pretty quickly in the sport. In terms of my hand control, it's been a lot less about like getting my hand thick and just keeping it as strong as possible, but keeping some level of dexterity. You look at Ryan, you touch Devin's hand and it's like a bunch of spider webs, like spider claws, and it's super, super strong. But the only thing that's really thick on his hand is his thumb. The rest of it's relatively normal,
Yeah.
Normal, right?
Yeah.
But normal for arm wrestling, we'll say.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I'm going to say that Chance gets the win on this one.
We're doing predictions?
I'm going to play the promoter card. I'm just going to say, I hope they both do well.
I'm going to go with Sabin on this.
Okay. It's good to have opposing views. Let's go to the next one, or we're going to run out of time. And it's Marcio versus Pavlo, I believe.
So the next match will actually be Dave versus Camille, because we wanted to give Pablo enough rest, at least 2 matches in between. Next is Dave versus Camille Jablonski, which I'm going to start off by saying people are ruling out Camille immediately. We've all been a hungry young athlete.
I cannot rule him out. I can't. I know Camille. I've spent some time with him, and I know what his attitude is like towards his training. He believes he can win.
100%. 100%. I'm super excited for it. We had a couple of phone calls. He's obviously extremely grateful for the opportunity. Unfortunately, Jordan, we did have the visa issues, and it honestly had nothing to do with the politics behind, the organization, WAF and all that stuff. It was just strictly like the visa process didn't work out as quickly as we had hoped. So he is planning on coming if we have a second event. But he is planning on being in the U.S. soon and all that type of stuff. But when we reached out, we were like, who are we going to pick? Because, we reached out to Jerry. Jerry, unfortunately, we wish him the best recovery. He still was dealing with pneumonia. Because we would have loved to have seen we know who the King of the North is, but who's the best in the U.S. So we would have loved to have seen that match, but he wasn't able to. And then we're just kind of sitting there like, well, so many of these guys are over at East versus West on the same day. What are we going to do? Who do we pull from? And so now we start thinking of, all right, you're not going to get another Dave Chafee level guy. So who are the freaks? Who are these big, huge monsters that we could match up and possibly give a first chance shot? And
I have an answer for that, Will.
Yeah.
If by chance, and I want everybody to say something. Ryan, you say something. The chat, you say something. Will, if, and the key word in this is if by chance you have a second edition and we say we know who the King of the North is, you want to know who the King of the U.S. is, if everything works out, planets align, health is 100%, why don't you make for your headliner Jerry Carteret, Corey West?
That could work.
Wow.
That could work.
I like it.
I like
there you
it.
Go.
But my question for you is why Corey West and not Dave Chafee?
I think Dave has gone through a bunch of injuries. Honestly, here's my thing about it. And reasons why I'm going to pick Dave. I think Dave is going to go ahead and, you know what? Hasn't had the best 2023. We all can agree with that. We don't know if his injuries are really starting to bug him or bother him. There were snippets about maybe he might walk away. That might have been somebody else talking, not so much him. I think he's going to go ahead and pull this match, put a bow tie on 2023, heal up, rest up, and you put Jerry and Corey as your main event of the second edition, and the winner pulls Dave.
Well, really all I have to say is it all depends if these contracts come out or not. Because if that happens, I might as well just pack my bags and go.
Will, you're gonna have lots of talent to draw from. You want to know why I like Corey West better than Dave Chafee for that match?
Shoot.
Because we haven't seen it a bunch of times.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great matchup. I mean, this event will show, I think, a lot of people, like you had mentioned, like new talent, because in reality, if you think about it, essentially we're going back all the way to the WAL days. We're still dealing with the same talent. Not that that's a bad thing. There hasn't been enough opportunity for this massive, insertion of up and coming athletes. And as I just mentioned previously, when you give these guys the opportunity, they will become these top level guys. Right. I think they're just waiting on that opportunity. So when, like I had mentioned, when Camille said, he was like, I'm ready. He goes, I will be there at 13 days out from the event. I have to tip my hat to this guy. You want to talk about commitment instantaneously? We had his ESTA filled out, his visa, everything, his photos, his stats, his flight, everything. He gave us all of his information within 12 hours. He was ready to go. So, Excuse me, as you had said, Ryan, you spent some time with this guy. I genuinely believe he's coming to kill. I don't think he's coming to see where he's at. He's like, I'm coming and I'm winning. So I think this match is going to be.
Well, this is you just made Rocky Balboa moment.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what you did.
Come on, think about me as one of the promoters. I'm like, if I can, look, I'm a U.S. guy. I want Dave to do well, obviously, right? I know I'm not supposed to be biased, but I'm a big fan of Dave. Like, we want him to do well. We want Camille to do well. But if Camille somehow pulls this off, from a production standpoint, I'm like, I just got the guy I just went, bloop. We got a guy up in the top 10 now, instantaneously, like on our car. It's like, my mind is still, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. It's going to be nuts.
It's the exact thing. You had the guy pull out. You need the guy that's a bit of a gimmick, an underdog. You got him coming. He doesn't know he's in an exhibition. He thinks it's a damn fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. And then last up, we have Marcia Barbosa, Pavel Dervadeniev. This, I believe, will be the third or fourth time they've met up. But in the last one at the Arnold, which I was competing in as well, the match ended because of fouls. And it was a really crappy way to end that match. It wasn't even a foul they were dead center, and the elbow. Anybody who's ever competed in USAA before, great organization, but they are very strict.
Yeah.
And the elbow just came off the front like that. And they were like, foul, winner. And we're like, come on, let these guys pull. So I know Marcia's very eager to prove himself, and so is Pablo. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be good.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. What are the rules actually on that? Because you don't want that rematch from the Arnold to have the same kind of outcome at your event. So I'm just kind of curious, what rules that you guys have? Running fouls?
Yeah, we don't have running fouls. Okay. But let me just start off by saying the rule set that we put together was not started from, like, let's say WAF or IFA and then modified. We essentially wanted to take something from everywhere and create a rule set that was best for the athletes and best for the viewership at home. And I think we accomplished that very well. I don't want to misspeak, so let me pull up the actual rule set. Honestly, Chris is way better at this stuff than I am. But hold on, let me think. Yeah, so we are going to be giving one warning and then one foul. Hold on. I'm going to misspeak. Let me pull it up. I don't want to say the wrong thing and then Chris will fucking kill me. Let me see here.
Yeah, we don't want Ryan fouling out any matches during Pablo's.
No, I don't foul. I don't foul, Jody. Hey, while Will is looking for that thing, Let's rapid fire the East versus West matches.
Rapid fire. I'm gonna
You ready?
go back. I don't have, but yes.
I got them in front of me.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce some of these. Dustin Hyatt, Thomas Mangi.
Dustin, that guy's a youngster. He's going to be the future of that weight division.
Agreed. Kyle Hutchinson, Brad Grundy. I'm taking Grundy.
Dude, I want to see Brad do good because he was one of the guys that won the East vs. West qualifier, but I might go with Kyle on this one.
All right, you got Kyle, I got Brad. Derek Smith versus Mehdi. I think that's a hell of a match.
I wish they quit picking on Derek. Every time they put him up against some killer, it's like, what the?
Who you taking?
I want Derek.
I'm going to take Derek as well. Artur Makarov, Adam Rosinski.
Ooh, I want Adam to redeem himself from last time.
I want him to as well, but I don't think he will.
Okay.
Matyushenko versus David Arabuli.
David.
I'm going to go with the old school guy and go with Matyushenko.
What's happening? You good? I'm good.
Mom's good.
Farid Osmanli versus Georgi Zaranov. Right arm.
Right arm. Okay. How about Farid?
I'm going to go with Georgie.
Nice.
Irakli Zerkashvili, David Dadigian.
How many Davids do we have on the card? Like 3?
Yeah, a few. Yeah.
Well, David's pulling 2. He's pulling 2 matches. This was right-handed versus Irakli, correct?
This is right arm versus Irakli.
Ooh. Ouch. I might lean toward Irakli.
I'll take David. David Samuchia versus Vala. I'm not even going to attempt that last name. This is a right arm super match welterweight world title.
I'm not familiar with Vala, so I'm going to have to go with David.
Okay, let's do one more, and then we'll get back to Will's rules here. Paul Lynn, Ruslan Babayev.
Oh, I'm going with Captain America, Paul Lynn.
Me too. Okay, we got 4 more to go. But Will, let's hear this rule set.
I can't find it right now.
All right, jump in on these then. We'll get that.
Probably the worst promoter you've ever met, but don't worry, we have a rule set.
You send me the rules. I'll make a video just about the rules.
All right, I'll make sure I do that afterwards. Keep going with your quest.
The top 4. Left arm, Prudnik versus David Dadikian.
What's up with his face?
I don't know.
I'm gonna say Dadikian.
Yes, I agree. Todd Hutchings versus Ibrahim Sagov.
I'm going with Todzilla. He's going to power right through that shit.
Same.
Me as well. Now, here's an interesting one. Rivaz Lutidzi versus Vitaly Laletin.
Vitaly's going to load so hard this way and pull it that way.
Will, you going Rivaz?
Rivaz. I think he's going to overpower him.
I agree. I think Vitaly's in trouble. And the main event, the one that we have all been waiting for, Devin Larratt versus Hermes Gasparini.
Hermes.
Wow. Jody?
Hermes.
Holy crap. I thought I was going to be the minority here, but I'm with you guys. Now, do I think Devin can win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Can Devin win without his tricks?
That's the thing, though. I haven't seen the usual tricks coming out. That's the crazy part.
Devin uses the tricks when he knows he can't win. He tried that shit with Levon. Levon just blinked, like, whatever. And then Devin knew, okay, fine, there's nothing I can do. But you got to realize if I'm so impressed with Hermes, the way he beat Jerry, even if Jerry was 100%, the way he beat him was like, wow. And, you know, Devin's not as strong as Jerry, but he's more versatile. Can Hermes power through that is the question. I think he can.
I don't disagree. I think we saw the fact that Hermes was able to not just stop Levon, but start to press him in a flopped wrist. I think that's the best Devin will be able to do will be able to stop him near the pin pad, and then Hermes will just press straight through.
Yep.
I don't see Devin. I don't see Devin taking control center table before they're ready to go.
I'm going to say something weird here. I don't think either guy has got the right mindset for this match right now. It almost seems like, they're going through the motions a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure about it. Once the press conference hits, I assure you, I'm making popcorn for that. When that press conference hit, what is it? Friday is the press conference? I assure you.
You never mind that. You watched the High Five press conference.
Yeah, damn right.
Forget about that one.
Hey, is it also Friday at what time?
5 p.m.
So that's 2:00 my time. Damn, I'll be leaving for work. I'll have to watch it later then. I work swing shifts, so it's like
Coming.
Yeah. Anyway, gentlemen, I got to call it right now because I got to hit the road and go make some money.
Cool.
Thanks for watching,
Will,
everybody.
Yes. Will, thanks for joining us on the show.
Of course. Wait, we didn't. What? Just 30 more seconds.
Sure.
Okay.
The whole reason why I came on today, I was so happy to hear that someone other than myself does a 2-day. I do a 48-hour fast about 2 days out from my competition. And that was so interesting to hear because when I saw you make that post, I just found that I'm like, why aren't more people doing this? Giving their body a break, reducing the inflammation, resetting your hormones, and just giving your digestive tract some time to recuperate from all the food. I was so happy to hear that. I feel like it's like my secret weapon that nobody does.
The secret's out. Now we both better win or nobody's going to care.
Yeah, they're going to think we're a bunch of idiots. But, I mean, I'm planning on winning. So, we'll leave it at that. But I thought that was so great. People really underestimate the value in fasting, especially from an athletic perspective. For 8 to 12 weeks, we're pushing the food, we're pushing the training, the diet, the supplementation, and we're never giving our bodies a rest. So, like, when I am in prep, I will do a 24-hour fast once a week. And then usually the week of, so like I'm competing Saturday, I started my fast today. The next time I'll eat will be Thursday morning. Today's Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, Thursday morning will be the next time that I eat. And I just feel like because I go into such a fasted state, once I started reincorporating those carbohydrates, clean carbohydrates especially, I soak them up like crazy and I turn into a freaking cartoon character and I feel fantastic. So, yeah, man, more people need to do that for sure.
I completely agree.
There you have it. Gentlemen, once again, thank you. Is there a way we can have Will on maybe, next Monday so we can talk about what went down, how it went down? Was that okay?
It's going to be a problem because I'll still be in New York on Monday.
You guys let me know if I'm available. You just let me know. I'll be there. I would love it. I appreciate you guys having me on today.
We'll see what we can do, Jody.
All right. Everybody, take care.
All right. See you, everybody.
See ya. Peace, guys.